Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the Ingroove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm doing the new arrival video for January 16, 2026. Pretty solid new arrival. A few of these albums I've actually already listened to, and they're killer. I'll talk about them in a minute. But first, some pre-orders. Also, I've got a big first pressing whatnot auction coming out February 1st. It's kind of the week before Super Bowl, that NFL bye week. It's killer. I've got a Beatles Butcher cover on it. I've got a Dark Side of the Moon A2B2 Blue Triangle, the best sounding version of that record. 200, all first pressings, mostly like really clean records, original Smashing Pumpkins, original Soundgarden. Click the link below. You can go to that first pressing auction on February 1st, see what's going on. But yeah, also a whatnot later on today, 5 o'clock Arizona time, every Thursday. Generally, I mean, sometimes I cancel it for random reasons, but I will have one later on today. Lasts for an hour, live stream. I'll talk, we'll chat. I also sell records. It's a lot of fun. Okay. So, oh, forgot the pre-orders. Actually, I'll do the pre-orders in a second. I have been telling you guys the last couple of weeks, I'm going to do a lot of store merch throughout the year. This is something I've actually had. If you're local, you've been able to purchase these. I've never made these available online, but they are now. They are in-groove stickers, and they're really high quality. These are not like cheaper throwaway stickers. They're cheap-ish, $4 I'm selling them for. But I've got one with the price tag logo, and then this is what, about 6 inches, the in-groove store logo. Really high quality vinyl stickers. You can buy these now online on the website. I still got maybe 50 pins left, and then they're gone. Those were limited to 200. These I've got plenty of. You could tack them onto an order. Like I say, $4 a piece. They're really nice. They're under the store merch tab on the website. Okay. Couple of pre-orders. There's a lot of great pre-orders that were announced. A ton of killer audiophile jazz, but I've only got a few here. First thing, Kool and the Gang, live at PJ's from Mobile Fidelity. I don't think anybody on earth would have ever assumed that live at PJ's from Kool and the Gang was coming out by Mobile Fidelity. Limited to 2,000 copies, and arrival dates to be announced, so it'll be a couple months. But boy, they're really doing some squirrely off-the-wall stuff. A lot of it I'm digging, but this might be phenomenal as well. But yeah. From Mobile Fidelity, Kool and the Gang, live at PJ's. This next one is an absolute killer record, and I'm talking hen's teeth rare. So hard to find. The Lawrence Marabelle Quartet, Tenor Man. This was on Jazz West, a really tiny boutique jazz label. I want to say this is probably the best record on the label. But a couple of records and that's it, came and gone. This is coming out as a Blue Note tone poet. This is going to be a monster pickup. Comes out March 6th. And they're also doing Andrew Hill's Compulsion, same date, March 6th. Those are the 2 new Blue Note tone poets that were announced. 3 new OJCs, all analog cut by Kevin Gray from the original master tapes were announced. Wes Montgomery's Full House, Thelonious Monk, Alone in San Francisco, and Vince Guaraldi and Bolasete from All Sides. All of them are coming out February 27th. Also, the Black Crowes announced a new album, A Pound of Feathers. That's coming out March 13th. Okay, let's show you guys what's new. First 2 records I've listened to. Actually, I'll show you the box set. Haven't listened to this. Don't know anything about it. T-Rex, 1970 to 77, the studio albums with restored original artwork and lyrics. The complete collected official studio releases by Mark Bolan's era-defining band. So yeah, you're getting T-Rex, Electric Warrior, The Slider, Tanks, Zinc Alloy and the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow, Bolan Zip Gun, Futuristic Dragon, and Dandy in the Underworld. I think in the first pressing auction, I've got a UK first pressing of Zip Gun and Futuristic Dragon. Maybe Dandy in the Underworld too. Okay. The 2 home run, I think, must-own titles for this week's new arrival. Phenomenal. Chuck Berry is on top. You don't have to deal with your old beat-up original Black Label chess copy anymore. This one sounds great. I listened to it. I've only listened to it once. I'm not going to give it... My initial reaction was really good. Let's put it that way. I listened to it in the store. It's not the most ideal, although it's a $100,000 system or more, it's not the most ideal listening environment. So I try not to rate records at the store. But man, I had a good time listening to this. Chuck Berry is on top. Actually, I've got my copy right over here. I'll show it to you. You can get a little bit more in depth. This is a gatefold. They put a couple of nice session photos, well, not session photos, but just kind of looks like that's maybe in a studio. But yeah, that's the inside of the gatefold. And then the next one is Etta James, At Last. Boy, this sounded so damn good. I've never found a reissue that I've liked. Audiophile reissue. Speaker's Corner did one a while back in stereo. It was mediocre. Wasn't a huge fan of it. But look at this. Etta James, At Last, in stereo. The original mono of this record is killer, but try finding a clean one. They don't really exist. This is a killer record, and accordingly, they were played to absolute death. So it's tough to find a nice clean copy. But here you go. Beautiful Chess 75th Anniversary Series, mastered from the original analog tapes. Press that QRP with a beautiful tip-on jacket. Both of those I can't recommend more highly. John Coltrane. This is Coltrane Plays the Blues. This is part of the Rhino box set. This particular one got separated from the herd, and I wasn't able to show it to you last week. Separated in shipping. Another killer title. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I'm really thrilled with this particular series. This is the Decca Pure Analog. Decca, the most storied audiophile jazz label of all time. Like, these are the creme de la creme for collectors. They want Decca titles. Originals, original series Decca stuff, stereos, thousands of dollars for almost every, everything in the series. This all analog vinyl series, iconic recordings from Decca and the Philips archives from the original quadraphonic half-inch 4-track tapes. This is done by Sidney Meyer, who was a Kevin Gray protege. And this is kind of done very similar to what they're doing with the Deutsche Grammophon, done at Emil Berliner Studios as well. But yeah, it looks really well done. These are limited. This is 1081 of 3030, which is unfortunate. I don't know why they keep limiting these, because I sell out of the Decca ones immediately and then you can't get them. Part of the ECM Luminescence series, again, all analog, cut from the original master tape. This is Gary Peacock and Ralph Towner, Oracle. Another run of audiophile records. These are from Chesky, right? Who did these? No, this is Evo Sound. These are from Evo Sound. These are one-steps. 30th anniversary jazz supergroup with Bob James, Lee Ritner, Nathan East, and Harvey Mason, featuring guest artists Phil Collins, Patty Austin, and Peebo Bryson. Remastered from the original tapes, new liner notes. 4Plays Elixir as a one-step. Another one-step, we have Rosa Passos and Ron Carter. This is from the Chesky original masters, one step. Kenny Rankin, Because of You. This is also a Chesky one step. Whole grip of these one steps, all in one shot. These were supposed to come out a couple of weeks, but they were delayed. Paquito de Rivera, Portraits of Cuba. Limited one-step edition from Chesky Records. I actually had, what was it, a Pure Pleasure record. They did a Cuban record, and I had it on eBay. You know, the store synced up with eBay, and I got a notice from eBay that I was selling embargoed merchandise from Cuba, and I had to write them. I'm like, no, this is just Cuban music. This record was made in Europe. This is not a Cuban. I'm not running jets from Cuba and smuggling in records back into the United States. Another Chesky one-step, Martha Gomez, Cantos de Agua Dulce. Another title that was delayed but finally came in. This is the blue vinyl version of Depeche Mode's Memento Mori, de Mexico City. There's a video of this on Netflix or Amazon, one of those streaming sites, and I actually watched it the other day. It was really good. Saw them in concert maybe about 10 years ago here in Phoenix. It was a killer show. I wish they'd come back. Part of the Rhino Start Your Ear Off Right series, this is the soundtrack to Fight Club, pressed on pink vinyl. And apparently that's, there you go. That's all you can say about that. Can't talk about Fight Club, the vinyl record on YouTube. Okay, BTS. The name of this album is Youth on clear purple vinyl. Made in Japan. This is a Japanese pressing. Manufactured by Pony Canyon Inc. in Japan. The official soundtrack, Eminem's Stands on translucent red and black vinyl. Don't Be Dumb. A$AP Rocky and Tim Burton presents. I was talking to Dee in the back about this. Also, I guess Danny Elfman kind of had a hand in this as well. Apparently this is like a soundtrack to a movie, but the movie doesn't exist. Yeah. Soda Stereo. Cancoyan Animal on Sony Music Latin. Kyla Waters, Anew on Sanchi. Sixpence None the Richer. I think this is their first album that does not include Kiss Me on Friday Music. Foreigner, the best of Foreigner 4 live, the Las Vegas edition. Fanny, the 1973 album from the legendary all-female band, Fanny's Mother's Pride. Madison Beer, Locket. And the locket's on the back. Ted Nugent, The Nuge Vault Volume 2, debut solo album, 1975 demos and live rarities. It's got Stranglehold from the demo from 1975. That should be cool. Kind of want to hear the Stranglehold demo. What a great tune. Cavetown, Running with Scissors on black vinyl. What do we got here? Mark Mallman, Magic Time. Okay. Electric Light Orchestra, Face the Music. Just a standard Sony pressing. Slayer, Repentless. This is the strictly limited 10th anniversary edition on crystal clear silver and red splatter vinyl, limited to 3,400 copies. Kind of with a foil cover. True Romance, motion picture soundtrack, the unforgettable soundtrack to the Quentin Tarantino pen cult classic on turquoise vinyl. This is a glow-in-the-dark version of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Glow-in-the-dark, music by Danny Elfman. Evita, the album, featuring Don't Cry For Me, Argentina. A few restocks of some key titles that sold out last week, back in stock. This is the Rhino Reserve, all analog cut from the original master tapes by Matt Luthans of Gordon Lightfoot's If You Could Read My Mind. Also, the America self-titled album has Horse With No Name and what was the other big hit on here? Was it Riverside? Maybe Riverside. Listened to it the other day. It sounds pretty good. Out of last week's batch of stuff, this was my favorite record. Faces, A Nod Is As Good As a Wink. This is cut from the original analog master tape. I think it was done by Chris Bellman. This sounds great. Man, what a killer record. Highly recommend picking this up. Great sounding copy. Another restock. This is Rush, Snakes and Arrows, part of the Start Your Ear Off, right, I think? No, Rocktober. Got a restock. I think most of these coming up are all restocks. Restock of Abbey Road. These are typically, the restocks I get are huge. They're pallets, but I try to feature some of the titles that are key restocks that I haven't had in a while. This is great. This is kind of like a disguised OJC. The Country Blues of John Lee Hooker. All analog, cut from the master tape by Kevin Gray with this tip-on jacket. Really, it would be an OJC if it was released today, but there it is, 10 bucks less. Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever. I believe these are still cut by Chris Bellman. I actually used this record as a demo in the sound room. I was doing a stereo demo today with that record. Sounds great. Taylor Swift, Midnights. I got a couple versions of that. Got a couple Steely Dan restocks. These are the standard vinyl versions of these records. Steely Dan's Asia and Can't Buy a Thrill, my actual favorite Steely Dan record. I'm not a huge Steely Dan fan, but I tend to put this on when I do. A Blue Note classic title, all analog, cut from the original master tape by Kevin Gray. We've got Hank Mobley's Soul Station, one of the top albums out there, jazz albums out there. Highly recommend this. My favorite jazz album of all time, the record that got me into jazz, and also a record that's on my top 100 imprint analog records you should own list. Highly recommend it. I always try to keep it in stock, but it's been out for a little while. That is Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers Moanin'. An unbelievable record. Another record from my top 100 imprint jazz records you should own. Also all analog, cut from the original master tape by Kevin Gray. Lee Morgan's The Sidewinder. Probably the most, especially of this era, probably one of the most mainstream hit / cross pop over jazz records of all time. Sold really well back in the day. Another Blue Note classic, all analog, cut from the master tape by Kevin Gray. Horace Silver's Doing the Thing. Got a restock of Kanye West's Late Registration. And Jerry Mulligan's Night Lights. This is part of the Acoustic Sounds series. All analog, cut from the master tape by, who did this? This might have still been Ryan Smith. Matt Luthans is doing most of the stuff there now at the mastering lab, but before that, a lot of that stuff was done by Ryan K. Smith. All right, guys, all this stuff can be purchased online at the website at theingroove.com. Until next time.